manner, and to correct those interesting exercises of Ollendorff's which ascend from the primitive simplicity of golden candlesticks and bakers' dogs to the loftiest themes in romantic literature. For 5 minutes there was no sound save the scratching of pens, and the placid voice of the Fräulein demonstrating to Miss Mullins that in an exercise of 20 lines, 10 words out of every 20 were wrong, and then the door was opened suddenly, not at all in the manner so carefully instilled by the teacher of deportment. It was flung back, rather, as if with an angry hand, and a young woman, taller than the generality of her sex, walked quickly up the room to Miss Pugh's desk, and stood before that bar of justice, with head erect and dark flashing eyes, the incarnation of defiance. "Was für ein Mädchen," muttered the Fräulein, blinking at that distant figure with her pale, grey-green eyes. Miss Pugh pretended not to see the challenge in the girl's angry eyes. She turned to her subordinate, Miss Pilby, the useful drudge who did a little indifferent teaching in English, grammar, and geography, looked after the younger girls' wardrobes, and toadied the mistress of the house. "Miss Pilby, would you be kind enough to show Ida Palliser the state of her desk?" asked Miss Pugh with awe-inspiring politeness. "She needn't do anything of the kind," said Ida coolly. "I know the state of my desk quite as well as she does. I dare say it's untidy. I haven't had time to put things straight." "Untidy!" exclaimed Miss Pugh in her appalling baritone. "Untidy is not the word. It's degrading. Miss Pilby, be good enough to call over the various articles which you have found in Ida Palliser's desk." Miss Pilby rose to do her employer's bidding. She was a dull piece of human machinery, to which the idea of resistance to authority was impossible. There was no dirty work she would not have done meekly, willingly even, at Miss Pugh's bidding. The girls were never tired of expatiating upon Miss Pilby's meanness, but the lady herself did not even know that she was mean. She had been born so. She went to the locker, lifted the wooden lid, and proceeded in a flat, drawling voice to call over the items which she found in that receptacle. A novel, The Children of the Abbey, without a cover. "Ah," sighed Miss Pugh. "1 stocking with a rusty darning needle sticking in it, 5 apples, 2 mouldy, a square of hardbake, an old neck ribbon, an odd cuff, 7 letters, a knife with the blade broken, a bundle of pen and ink. Well, I suppose they are meant for sketches." "Hand them over to me," commanded Miss Pugh. She had seen some of Ida Palliser's pen and ink sketches before to-day, had seen herself represented in every ridiculous guise and attitude by that young person's facile pen. Her large cheeks reddened in anticipation of her pupil's insolence. She took the sheaf of crumpled paper and thrust it hastily into her pocket. A ripple of laughter swept over Miss Palliser's resolute face, but she said not a word. "Half a New Testament, the margins shamefully scribbled over," pursued Miss Pilby, with implacable monotony. 3 Brazil nuts, a piece of slate pencil, the photograph of a little boy." "My brother!" cried Ida hastily. "I hope you are not going to confiscate that, Miss Pugh, as you have confiscated my sketches." "It would be no more than you deserve if I were to burn everything in your locker, Miss Palliser," said the schoolmistress. "Burn everything except my brother's portrait. I might never get another. Papa is so thoughtless. Oh, please, Miss Pilby, give me back the photo." "Give her the photograph," said Miss Pugh, who was not at all inhuman, although she kept a school, a hardening process which is supposed to deaden the instincts of womanhood. "And now, pray, Miss Palliser, what excuse have you to offer for your untidiness?" "None," said Ida, "except that I have no time to be tidy. You can't expect tidiness from a drudge like me." And with this cool retort, Miss Palliser turned her back upon her mistress and left the room. "Did you ever see such cheek?" murmured the irrepressible Miss Cobb to her neighbour. "She can afford to be cheeky," retorted the neighbour. "She has nothing to lose. Old Pugh couldn't possibly treat her any worse than she does. If she did, it would be a police case." When Ida Palliser was in the little lobby outside the classroom, she took the little boy's photograph from her pocket and kissed it passionately. Then she ran upstairs to a small room on the landing, where there was nothing but emptiness and a worn-out old square piano, and sat down for her hour's practice. She was always told off to the worst pianos in the house.